Okay, so this is the alienism of Islam. Islamophobia is the dislike or prejudice against Islam or Muslims. It can also sometimes be referred to as anti-Islamism, Muslimophobia, or anti-Muslim bigotry. It is often due to preset stereotypes, assumptions, or things that have happened in history. The intent, like many other isms, is discrimination and hate towards that certain group. Since we all live in a country with Islam and Muslims, this is a topic all of us should be aware of, just to ensure that we can reflect on our own possible assumptions and evaluate how media and history may be influencing these stereotypes. We want to ensure that people are aware of the types of information they are receiving, what stereotypes and prejudices that may cause, and what the final effect of those prejudices are. In our presentation, we will be specifically focusing on the history behind Islamophobia, the effect of the media and education, the idea of alienism, and some possible solutions for this issue.
Generally, Islamophobia is a dislike or prejudice against Islam and Muslims, as you said earlier. This tends to stem from stereotypes and events that have happened in history due to various often negative interactions that people have written about in the past. Additionally, another term that we may not know of would be cyber harassment, which is the term of various types of online harassment. Muslims are followers of Islam, the Islamic religion. Bias and stereotypes often refer to predetermined notions about a group or a type of people. Prejudice or discrimination refers to the unjust treatment of a group of people because of their biases or stereotypes. There's a lot of history behind Islamophobia, and we'll find three major areas where this stems from. First, history can be seen through a name-calling and misinterpretation of Muhammad by powerful people throughout history. You can also see a lot of hate stems from fear the Ottomans wanted to conquer land, and that was also as allied to the Soviets. While this may not be specifically prevalent now, these types of events in the history have led to a long-standing political hate between countries. Along with this, crusades played a big part in the way people stereotype Muslims due to the interaction with Christianity and their overall loss. And since history is written by the victors, this negatively representation exists. The next is Hollywood. It's easy to see the misinterpretations are possible in films when Islam characters are often are one of three types of characters: billionaires, bombers, or belly dancers. Men are often seen as threats, and women are often seen as in need of liberation or rescue. The final category is the effect of the media, which we'll talk about later in the presentation. As you can see, all of these things present a very limited view of Islam and the Muslim population, bringing these stereotypes along with them. This is not an accurate representation of the culture, and this is why we need to be addressed.
Yeah, where do we see this today? Yeah, basically it's dislike for Islam's being targeted over social media. You can see negative images being transferred from media to the public, abuse over social media sites such as Twitter being categorized as cyber harassment, cyberbullying, cyber hate. Additionally, other sites could be like Facebook or Snapchat. And of course, victims of cyber hatred are rising over the years. For example, the number of victims have increased from 19% to 26% in 2014 to 2017 in schools.
And a lot of this behavior tends to stem from schools itself, as educational materials tend to provide a negative view of Islam and its followers, especially through history classes, and that can come filter down to children as little as 13. So, if you start small, eventually this stuff starts to build up, and it can be hard to stop.
Okay, so what are some solutions to this issue? We believe that the best way to get rid of this fear and hate that people have is by giving them something positive to think of instead. We need to provide positive, respectful representations that give people a new perspective. So some of the ideas we had for doing this are listed here. More ethnic journalists, a bigger variety in characters portrayed in films as opposed to only like billionaires, belly dancers, and bombers. And then more education in schools, and also frequent positive stories when teaching in schools or through the media, as opposed to all of the negative views we see. And since we may not be able to change all of these things directly, we can take the time to reflect on how the media may be influencing our opinion of Islam and Muslims, evaluate if there's a change that needs to be made, and then take the time to educate ourselves in the true nature instead of what the mainstream media is telling us.
And these are the sources.